Hello guys, Dan Hook here, and in today's video I wanted to talk about a bit of software I've been using called Scapple. I use it about twice a year, so it doesn't come in handy too often, but when it does, it really helps me sort of structure and plan my books, and it's what I've been using now I've finished on book 2. It's the software I go to plan my next book, so then I can go back to book 2 and make sure everything's in place. Now, they're made by the same people that make Scrivener, so that's always a positive. I believe they're called Literature and Latte. Now, if you do pick it up, make sure you write down your license key, because for me, because I boot it up so infrequently, every time I boot it up, it puts me on a trial mode and asks me to hand over the key, which of course I bought years ago. So I then have to go and find it, which takes a few minutes, but luckily now I've got it somewhere that's very convenient, so every time I do boot it up I can just paste it in if it asks. So if I show you the software, which is here, this is book 1, 2 and 3. I did have right down the bottom, which I've deleted now, book 4, because I wasn't sure if it was going to be like 3 or 4 books. So blue at the top is book 1. I didn't really use it for book 1. I found the software perhaps a little bit too late, but it came in really good use for book 2, where I could then plan book 2 sort of structure based on book 1, and then for book 3, which is what I was doing yesterday, which is the sort of, you see book 1 is blue, book 2 is green, but then for the last book I've color coded it for different characters so I can clearly see. And then with it, you've got arrows that go zigzag across, and that gives me the character flow for the book. Because I've got multiple points of view, it's quite difficult in getting the timing to line up with each other and for the flow to be okay. I could probably say if you don't have multiple sort of points of view, it's probably less handy, this software. But if you've got like a few storylines going on and you need to make them tie up, it definitely comes in use for the sort of the overall vision of the structure and the story. So I think yellow might be Shelby, and then you've obviously got his continuation line from book 2 onto book 3, and then it all goes all the way down to obviously the end point. And you can connect them with these dotted lines as well as the arrows as well, so you can see that it's all connected. Essentially for me, it's allowed me over the past day, so none of this was here. I basically plotted out the story for book 3 with the end point, and then figured out the flow of it and what is going to roughly happen in each chapter, because each box is generally a chapter. It's not, but to begin with, I treat them as different chapters. So if this is book 2, I haven't looked at this really since starting book 2. So if I was to compare this now, there's things in it that aren't even in the book, but it gave me a rough sort of plan and a rough sequence of chapters for me to start on. And then obviously as you write, you decide perhaps that it didn't really work and things need changing. So it's never something to stick to like entirely. But for me, I can get, word out, put in some templates of chapters and have that in the flow of the characters that I want, and then under each chapter have a bulk of information of what the chapter needs to be about. And essentially it's just sort of connect the dots up when I'm writing. It's so much easier. But of course I didn't do that with my first book. I winged it because I actually have to have more of a structure now, because it's a series and it has to have some sort of organization to it. This is where the organization comes into, and then sort of the winging it bit comes to actually when I'm writing the chapter and they just have to do the general sort of thing. But yeah, so that's Scapple for you, which I think I've said the name. But yeah, if I switch over to sort of a window that hasn't got anything on, you can see, zoom in a little bit. Is that zoomed in? Nah, a bit more. So you can right click, click on new note, you go chapter 1, Shelby, and then you just right click, apply note style. So you've got the colors here of the bubble, and then you've got the red texts. So we'll just go for green, and then you can also do the border and have it, you can have a cloud border if you want. This gets a little bit fancy, but I'm not really about the fancy stuff. I'm more about just getting it down. Border as well, so he's got a green border and a cloud, and if you sort of Control C and Control V, just copy and paste it, you then can drag and drop. So if you get this one, you hold it over, you drag and drop, and it makes the connection. If you want it to be an arrow, you drag and drop, but when you drop it, you hold down Alt and letting go with Alt held down creates the arrow towards the one you've dropped on top of. So it's just so convenient for just planning out your story, and it's, for me, much more convenient than getting out a big scroll of paper and trying to map it out, because like we've seen with the other window that I had open, you know, there's no limit. Like this isn't the end of the page. I can just drag and keep going and going and going and going. There's no limit to it. But yeah, it really helps me out when just sort of planning the next book, and trying to get the structure of sort of the multiple different points of view in time, and getting everything to line up, because, you know, certain things can obviously happen at the same time, and I need to make sure that the characters are in the right places. So it forces me to push characters in certain directions and just make sure that they all come together at the right times, and makes it easier for me to write the book. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for this. It was kind of I literally thought of making a video on this 10 minutes ago, and I thought, this is what I've been using. I'll make a video about it because some people might not know about it. It's called Scapple again. Same people that make Scrivener. I can't remember how much it was. It was paid. But it's just so handy because it saved me so much time. It would have taken me a lot longer doing it on paper and pen. I know some people prefer paper and pen, but, you know, I don't mind either way. Whatever the quickest way of doing it is the way I like to do it. But yeah, it also comes with a little software guide, so there is, I think, a couple more things you can do with it. But it's pretty simple and basic, but at the end of the day, that's all I need. So yeah, I mean, that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers for watching.